If you're new here, I'm Emily D. Baker, the badass lawyer, host of the Get Legit Law and Shit podcast and legal commentator. I've been a licensed attorney for over 15 years, but I'm not your attorney, not legal advice. I am a big fan of the cursey words, so headphones are recommended. This is where the law nerds unite to break down the news stories that you want to hear about with facts, not fuckery. My camera, I shifted my computer, my camera went thunk, literally 4 seconds ago, because we're professionals. Happy Friday. I am wearing my Facts Not Fuckery shirt. We've already warned you about the cursey words. I'm very excited to be here. Let me know where you guys are coming from and where you're coming in from. Thank you, Lauren. We're just going to say hi for a minute, and then we're going to jump right into what we've got going on. Jackalope, hello. Hello, hello. You guys, it's so good to see you coming in. Welcome to all the new channel members. Let us know where you're coming in from. You guys, there's so much to talk about tonight. There's so much to talk about tonight. So I have a few documents. I have more than a few documents we're going to go over. We're going to talk about all the things that have been going on. It's so good to see you guys. And you guys, for the channel members who joined the night we got channel membership, I think you guys are going to see the different color shifting in the gavels. So I can't see that on my end because of because of the way it populates, because we're streaming on both YouTube and Facebook. But you guys on YouTube should be able to see the difference in colors on the gavels. So let me know if you see them. Say hello to our OGs who are hitting the light purple rain on the gavels. I'm so excited. And then next month, everybody who hits the 2-month mark will get a different color. We have 6 different color gavels. It makes me so excited. I love a good visual representation. How have y'all been? It's Friday. We've been through a lot this week. I feel like the fuckery has been strong, and I want to talk about some of it. I'm working on 2 new videos. One might be out this weekend if I can get it done. And then I'm working on the podcast for next week. I started looking into the Erica Girardi, Tom Girardi stuff. It's so much. It's so much. So, it's so much. So that is going to have to be for another time. I think that I am going to cover that for the podcast because there's so much going on. I'm just going to make sure that we've got slow mode on in the chat for everybody. Oh, you guys, I forgot to turn off members only chat. I'm so sorry. I've got that now. Sorry, guys. I normally have everybody on in the chat, and I just got in and started chatting and totally didn't turn it off. So let me go in and do. We're professionals here, guys. It's totally fine. It's totally fine. We've got it handled. Sorry, everybody. I normally we only do members only chat on the live stream, and I normally turn it off right before we go live. And honestly, I just completely forgot. So let me go and turn that off right now. And then everybody can join us in the chat. Yeah, I don't normally keep just members only. I normally let everybody into the chat because the Law Nerds community is so cool. And I don't want you to feel like you have to be a channel member to be a part of our videos. Channel members do get a channel member only live stream once a month. And then some of the channel levels have a channel member Zoom call every quarter so that we can all chat with each other in that way for those who want to. So that should have fixed it. And I should start seeing everybody coming in. I remembered things. And yeah, so I've got one more thing I need to take care of on the back end while we just chat away. So thank you guys. We are trying out a new automated mod system to help us out. And I wanted to make sure it was going to A, work for us, and B, help out because we have so many people come into our chats, which is great. So it is our first night. So please bear with us as we get that all taken care of. And we will for sure get rolling with that too. So We're just getting everything settled. Professionals. We're professionals here, you guys. Okay, so I'm going to give a warning now, and I'm going to give a warning again. I posted a article on Twitter that is about kind of extreme domestic violence. I want to talk about it more. I am waiting to see if YouTube makes a statement about it. I am still really, really fired up about it. So tonight is not the right time for me to address it because I can't. Like, I'm just way too upset about it. And I feel like when that happens, I know myself well enough to be like, I need to take a breath on this. I shared it on Twitter to bring awareness to it's something going on, but it is an extreme case of domestic violence where a woman lost her life due to the actions of a partner. It was all live streamed. It's on my Twitter. The news articles are on my Twitter, but I'm not going to address it tonight. Literally, it's too much. And there's other stuff I'd like to talk about. Friday night is always so fun for us. And I want to make sure that it stays fun. My chat has totally frozen. Okay, there we go. I want to make sure that it stays fun. And honestly, there's some things that I know I can't talk about. So I need a few days. I need a few days before I can really address that fairly. So that I'm not going to be covering tonight. I shared about it on Twitter. I had wanted to talk about it. And as I really got into it, I was like, I can't talk about this tonight. I'm very, very upset about it. So it's a horrible story. If you want to see the story, I put it up. I'm not going to say the perpetrator's name. He's been arrested. It's a Russian YouTuber. I put it up on my Twitter. If you want to go to my Twitter and see the story, I linked the news article. I did intend to talk about it, and I just can't because you guys are also going to talk about Gabi DeMartino tonight and her distributing on her OnlyFans an image of her dancing around as a 3-year-old and then lifting her dress without undergarments on. And we're going to be talking about the legal stuff behind that. Other channels I've linked in the description have really covered the kind of moral implications of that and have really covered the kind of background of her on OnlyFans. I wasn't super familiar with her as a creator. I know it's just not the content I watch, you guys. I'm an older creator. I don't really watch her content. I am vaguely aware of her because of something with like Gabi Hannah, Trisha Paytas drama. Like that's where the name came in for me. And that's the only reason I know about that's the only reason I know kind of who Gabi DeMartino was. I know she has millions and millions and millions of subs. I can't. You guys, the slow mode is on. I see the comments. Slow mode is on. I can slow it. I'm going to try to slow it to 90, but then it gets real slow. So let's give it a try. And then the other tip on that is if you're watching on, depending on where you're watching, you can put your cursor on the chat and kind of pull down and see it. Adam, you're so welcome. I really enjoyed your videos on the situation. I need someone to tell me what a finsta is though, because I saw all her tweets and I just don't understand what it is. So if you could let me know in the chat, we're going to crowdsource knowledge because I just don't know. But I really appreciate all the creators that have covered this and brought awareness to it. I'm going to cover the legal side and kind of my legal thought process. I also have friends that specialize in those types of cases. So I reached out to some of my crew and was like, crew, this happened. And they texted back, what? And I was like, yep. Would you prosecute this? So I'll get into that conversation later. And then for everybody watching the replay, I will timestamp these when I'm done tonight. And that's what we're doing. So we are going to the mods. You guys are kicking ass. Thank you, mods. We are going to slow this down. Let's see. 90 seconds seems like it's good. If I need to slow it down again, I will, but then it's going to be really hard for you guys to chat. So thank you to all the mods. You guys, our mod squad is the best. Our community is so good. I love the law nerds so much. Finsta, somebody said, wait, where is it? Fake Instagram. But it was like, it was something I would post on like my Finsta to my friends. Like, is fake Instagram like the non-public one? The friends only. Fake Insta, friends only. Okay. So it's where like you really post like just your people. So if you're like a public figure, thank you. It's like your besties. Okay. Thank you guys. I couldn't figure it out. I was like, what the fuck is a Finsta? What is it? I don't know. You guys all know I'm not hip. I'm not young. And like my kids game, and I don't like it enough that they game. What's up, True Sleuth? I'm I get stressed enough that they game with chat modes. My kids do not have social media, and it will be a while before they have social media. The things that have gone on today, I was literally the thought I've had all day. And those of you that saw me on Instagram today with my hubby, the thought that kind of came up during that was, when do we stop selling ourselves? I love making content for you guys, but I also feel like in my 40s, I have boundaries about what I'm okay sharing and what I'm not okay sharing. And I love bringing the knowledge about law to y'all and talking about it and like throwing in some shade, having a drink and being like, law is this, but girl, this. Like, it's my favorite. Talking about pop culture makes me super happy. I just love it so much. I love it so much. Hey, bestie, it's totally your brand. See, here's the thing I had an issue with, Adam. So my friends and I are all old, and we used to just refer to each other as girlfriends. And then and it was like, oh no, my DA girlfriends. And then somewhere along the line, everybody's like, wait, are you guys together? And I'm like, oh, okay. No, we're not. Okay. So besties. So now it's the besties, and law nerds, y'all are my besties too. But I'm comfortable with my boundaries for like what I want to talk about, what I don't want to talk about, what I want to monetize, what I don't want to monetize, and where I'm comfortable. And I really know who I am. I think that would have been so hard in my 20s. I think in your 20s, the need for attention, the decision-making process of your brain isn't all the way done yet. So I think that it's harder to make those decisions. So the where do you stop selling yourself is what's been in my head all day. Creepshow, you're such a lovely girl. You're such a girl. I mean, I feel like we're homies, but I also feel like you're 100 years younger than I am. You're so lovely. And thank you so much. I appreciate you. And I appreciate you guys really in the commentary community shining a light on bullshit. And the commentary community just does that and calls people out on their bullshit. And I appreciate that. So Creepshow, it's so good to see you, babe. What happened to Creepshow on Twitter was also bullshit. And, I know not everybody loves Def Noodles, and that's totally fine, but people also degrading him because of his history was also not cool to me today. And I was like, come on. And again, today has pissed me off. I'm feisty Emily today. Today pissed me the fuck off. I also saw, and I know y'all, Candace Owens is a polarizing figure based on her political views. Totally fine. Y'all are welcome to dislike her political views all you want. You are welcome to be like, woman, you can't come for a man in a dress and think it's going to be okay. But when people started calling her racial slurs, I was like, what the fuck is wrong with you people? Like, you're welcome to dislike Candace Owens all you want. You can dislike the things she says. You can be like, look, coming down on Harry Styles for wearing a dress is kind of gross and vaguely homophobic, and like be more progressive, though you're not. But coming at her with racial slurs also pisses me off. So again, a lot of this stuff is on Twitter. I've digressed. For everyone watching the replay, I will timestamp where I've stopped wandering into oblivion and have talked about the cases. So we're going to get into Gabi DeMartino second because it's a little heavier, and I want to make sure that we cover the stuff. If you guys just want to hear about the Without a Crystal Ball stuff, we cover it, and then we can get into the law stuff of the Gabi DeMartino stuff. Oh, people were coming for Creepshow. Look, we talked about this in the Robert Downey Jr. thing, and I'm just analogizing because Creepshow's story is not my story to share, but people were coming from her based on her history and life and experience. And it's what the judge did to discredit Robert Downey Jr., I thought. The judge was saying, basically, he abuses drugs and alcohol, and therefore I've discounted him. You guys that were on that stream, Crystal, thank you so much. You guys that were on that stream know how I feel. Trying to discredit someone because they have had substance abuse issues, mental health issues, any of those things. Anytime you try to put people in a box, it pisses me off. And so, Creepshow, thank you for sharing. So when you take something somebody's been through and try to weaponize it against them, I'm going to call it out. If you take something somebody has done, if somebody has been racist, homophobic, abusive, call that shit out all day. But if you're going to attack someone because they have had mental health issues, because they are a certain race or not a certain race, because they are or had been homeless, like had happened with Creepshow, because they'd been in an abused relationship, any of those things, trying to weaponize a circumstance of life pisses me off. So I when I saw what was happening to her, I was like, this is disgusting. And then I messaged her and was like, dude, you owe nobody anything. Protect yourself. Johnny Depp. Did I say Robert Downey Jr.? We've been watching. He also has had notorious drug and alcohol issues. We've been watching a lot of Iron Man. So yes, I meant Johnny Depp. And I told stories about that. And I've seen it going on Twitter too. When Nick Schneider speaks up and says something, there will be people that will say, whatever, stupid junkie. And I'm like, no, somebody who has come from and survived an addiction and is in recovery shouldn't have their past weaponized against them. They should be said, you know what? Every single day is a miracle. Thank you for living every single day in your sobriety. That's it. Like, I don't understand why people can't just fuck off with that. It just pisses me off so much. So I don't really care. Like, again, I don't care if people are polarizing or if people say shitty things. Call them out on the shitty thing that they said. If you think somebody's being shitty, say, this thing you said is shitty, or this behavior is shitty. Do not say, well, you're a junkie, so I can discount you. No, say, you said a shitty thing and you seem like an asshole. I don't understand why that's so hard. Anna C., I'm a DV victim and I met with Mallory today to discuss options. I asked him if we could file a motion to not delete shit. And I told him about you. Anna, I'm sorry that that's your experience. I'm so glad you have a lawyer and that you're standing up for yourself. It is such a difficult and scary thing to do. The court process can be tremendously dehumanizing, which I hate, but it can be because law is law and it's not necessarily people. And good for you. A motion not to delete your shit. Anna, you are prophetic and wonderful. A motion not to delete your shit is exactly what we're going to talk about. And then we'll get to the Gabi DeMartino stuff. In the KJ Without a Crystal Ball space, there are quick background for everyone who's like, what the fuck are we talking about? Truthfully saying it too. I agree. People still try to blast me with a mugshot that's over a decade long when I call out their faves. It's that all someone's got against me that I'm doing something right. It's true. It's just such a disgusting thing. It's just a disgusting thing. And it does really piss me off because it really pisses me off. Call out what people are doing instead of trying to be like, but you did this in the past and therefore you're wrong. No, if you can't tell me what I'm doing wrong right now, you can fuck right off. That's where we're at with that. Motion to not delete your shit. So the motion to not back up. Emily, you're moving too fast in your own brain. Tati Westbrook is suing KJ and Without a Crystal Ball for defamation. In the defamation suit, there has been a complaint filed, which is the like, hey, you did the shit. Don't do the shit, the defamation complaint. There has now been a motion to dismiss filed, and I've looked at it again because it is a fruit salad mixed with a blender, and I've been trying to pick out the different pieces, but you can't because now it's like, a smoothie. And I saw something else in there that I just wanted to point out, and then I've watched some of the other legal coverage of it, and Uncivil Law, after he banged his head against the wall, actually pointed out something that I was like, oh yeah, I didn't even mention that because in my brain, cruised right by it. Lori P had mentioned KJ has a live scheduled. Well, of course, that's the way this goes. And that's fine. It doesn't matter. So what happened today is that the judge issued 2 different minute orders. A minute order from the court is the court saying, this thing needs to be said. So I am going to say it. And we talked in my, I don't remember which video it was. There's been so many. One of my videos, I talked about the fact that this attorney went over the page limit because the judge has a standing order. Now, judges rule their domain. So when you're a judge, you get to, thank you for the super sticker, Crystal. You get to rule your domain and you get to say, in my court, this is how we do shit. And each judge generally has a standing order saying, Up in here, these are the rules of the House. So the judges in the Without a Crystal Ball case, and it moved from one judge to the other, have a standing rule where motion responses are due 21 days after the motion is filed. Well, for the motion to not delete your shit, otherwise known as a motion to preserve evidence, but the motion to not delete your shit on social media, that due date was yesterday. So KJ's attorney, who KJ has said, because I've seen the clips on Twitter, KJ has said is an expert in all of the things, in the defamation things that he didn't ask to dismiss in their motion, in the in the defamation things, in the federal procedure things, and all the law things. But there was a deadline yesterday that was missed. So the judge, it looks like, gave a courtesy to extend the deadline, but the judge's minute orders were a little bit salty, in my opinion. And when I said federal judges aren't going to be pleased, this is not the foot we want to stand on. Like, this is not the leg we want to stand on. Not doing it. The judge gave an extension. The judge could have, 100% could have, no, Kevin, it doesn't matter because they're not parties, and all of that was completely irrelevant. So no, it doesn't matter because they're not parties to the thing. So in the motion to dismiss, or motion not to delete your shit, there was a deadline yesterday, the 21-day deadline, on the judge's standing orders. It came and went. The judge could have issued a ruling to Tati and Salty and said, fine, we'll issue the ruling. No response needed. You missed the deadline. The judge did not do that, which is gracious. But there was definitely a salty response. Yes, Adam, that's what happens. That's what happens on Tuesday, on Thursday. It doesn't matter what day. That's what happens. It's fine. Belinda, this is a fantastic question. Could do a live stream about the dehumanized process that people face in court and legal proceedings. I can. I find it doesn't mean to be, but law is not about the people at the end of the day. But I think that's a fantastic suggestion, Belinda. And I will do a video or a stream about what the court process is like in like the criminal court process. The civil court process is a little bit different because it's more of a pissing match between the attorneys who are just like, nah. If you guys don't follow Overheard Courthouse on Instagram, it's a fantastic Instagram account that has things that were literally overheard in courthouses. And there are a lot of attorneys that will submit to it. There are people just who happen to be at court, but right now it's mostly attorneys because nobody else is in court, or things that are now done over Zoom or over court call, because now a lot of things are getting called in. And so yes, Stitch Witch snarky is a perfect word. Trish Fox, thank you so much for the very, very, very kind super sticker. Thank you. So the Overheard Courthouse will have what people have said. And at the courthouse I used to work at in downtown LA, one of the judges was like, I don't know what you want to do. There are no trial dates. Like, trial dates are getting pushed out into 2022. And the judge is like, there are no trial dates. I can send you out into the parking lot for a duel if that's what you want. Like, that's where we're at with civil law right now, because it's difficult to get trial dates. The federal court calendar is a little less congested. And so I think that's one of the reasons we've opted in this defamation suit for the federal court versus a local court. But I'm going to look into some of those. I have working theories. So I'm going to work on some of what is going on with this motion to dismiss anyway. But today I just want to talk about the judge's orders. So let me change my background back so it's not so distracting. This is distracting the shit out of me. I love it though. That was for earlier. We're going back to the purple. I need to find something better than the purple, but y'all, we've been busy making content. We don't have time. Okay. This is going to be really small type. Let me pull it up. This is the docket that has everything that's going on in the case. So these are the 2-minute orders issued today. I have them in a different format. So I'm going to see if I can pull that up bigger, because I just screenshotted them. Let me see if I can pull that up so it looks a little bit cleaner for you guys anyway, because otherwise it's just so many words. That's a little bit better. I think that's better. Do you guys think that's better? I think it's better. Pam, thank you so much. Let me see what you said. Can we petition the judge to have a motion to live stream? I think we should. I think we should. We'll see. We'll see what's said. So I'm trying to make this as big as possible. The motion, 2-minute orders today. The minute order is the judge saying, this is what happened. So the second minute order today, and then I'll go back to the first one. The second minute order today said that on the 8, which is the number it is on the docket, on the motion to preserve evidence, that's the motion to not delete your shit, the court will allow parties to file the response and reply briefs according to the deadlines in the WAWD local rules, which means they have about another week to file it. So that's the judge allowing for the timeline slip and allowing for the missed deadline, though I'm sure the judge or the clerk of court had something to say about it. So this is the judge saying, I will allow you to file it under local rules in contradiction to the standing rule. But what I generally find with judges is they want you, if you aren't sure, if you are appearing in a court and you are not sure, because this motion has changed judges, but if you are appearing in front of a new judge, to say, okay, Your Honor, am I correct that this is owed this day or that this is owed this day? We've now moved courts. You would generally confirm with the court if they are under their standing order or the local order or the previous judge's standing order. Just saying. It's what I would do. So, maybe I'm not an expert in federal procedure. We're just saying. All right, let's put this back up and go through it. On the motion to dismiss, the court will allow page limitations to follow the local rules on this motion only. That means that the judge has told Saltsy's team, look, the other team has blown the page limit. So we are going to allow you to have an extended page limit. I will try to find the overheard courthouse. It's overheard courthouse on Insta and put a link later. So I should clarify, the local courts have a lot of rules. And we talked about this, I think, on another live stream. Courts have a lot of rules. So there are the local rules covering that court, and then the courtroom, the judge's own standing rules. So the local rules are local to that court. So the local federal rules to the court in Washington where this is being heard. Though KJ's side has filed a motion, mostly on jurisdiction, to try to get this kicked. I don't know why they think it would get kicked to LA. Or kicked to California. They keep saying all this stuff happened in California, but are they forgetting that they can also just go file in Minnesota if they want to? The motion was written like they assume if it's not going to be in Washington, it has to be in Los Angeles, but the plaintiffs get to choose where they file, and they could just as easily choose Minnesota. The immense law sass that there is law sass. Look, you've already got a judge having to issue 2 rulings in this case before anyone's even actually had a hearing on calendar. So the motion to dismiss, the court will allow page limitations to follow the local rule on this motion only. So Saltsy's side can file a longer response because KJ's side blew past the page limits. However, should be according to Judge Rothstein's, the previous judge, standing order. In addition, counsel should meet and confer according to the standing order, which means somebody didn't meet and confer. But the only person required to meet and confer would be KJ's side. They should have had a meet and confer before they filed a motion to dismiss. Based on this, it sounds like that didn't happen. Normally, you have to talk to the other side about that motion and say, hey, this is what we have issue with. Because sometimes with a motion to dismiss, it's like you didn't plead it properly. And they're like, oh, we'll fix it. It's cool. We can take care of it. And then you don't waste the court's time. So there is a standing meet and confer that's required. It looks like that didn't happen either. That should have happened. Okay. according to the standing order. And the moving party shall forthwith file a certification of conferral. That's like, get your shit together and show me that you did it. So the moving party being KJ. Also, per the standing order, per the standing order is the, as I previously said, you dumb motherfucker. Like, that's what that means. As I previously said, what are you doing? When I say, as I've previously stated, when I say it with you guys, as I've previously stated means like, oh no, I mentioned this in another video. But if I have to say it to another attorney, as I previously stated, it means go back and read the shit that I've already said and stop wasting my motherfucking time. As I've previously stated, per my last email, also lawyer sass. With all due respect is the bless your heart of the legal world. With all due respect follows sass. Sass. With all due respect, go fuck yourself. That's like, with all due respect is really the, well, just bless your little heart there, sweetheart. Tonight, kombucha, a little bit of vodka. You all know the per my last email. All of you know the per my last email. All of you know it's the work. Why the fuck are you wasting my time? Read your shit. That is what it is. The per my last email is the get it together. It's the professional. Are you fucking kidding me? I've already said that. Especially for the ladies in the room, where if you actually go off, it will become a bigger deal for you. When dudes go off an email, it's not the same. No, I'm not being sexist. It is my experience as a woman who has worked in a professional capacity. You have to sass your way through the going off. You can't just go the fuck off on somebody and be like, did you not read? So where were we? We were at per the standing order. This says standing order like 4 times, and it's literally 3 lines. In addition, counsel should meet and confer according to the standing order, and the moving party, KJ and without a crystal ball, shall forthwith, like immediately get your shit together, file a certification of conferral, also per the standing order, authorized by Judge Barbara Rothstein. Get it together. So there's another one. Let me pull up the other minute order that came out. This was the second minute order today. There was another minute order. Guess what the other minute order says? Standing order, like 4 times. Because this is the mom has rules, and I would say dad, but this is a female judge. Mom has rules, and you need to follow them. In my court, what you're not going to do is come into my court and not follow the standing rules. Thanks. Per my standing order, listen to the things that I've said. Pursuant to the standing order for civil cases setting trial date, related dates, and court procedures, standing order, docket number 20, because it's already on the docket. Like, she's already put the standing order there. Here is the standing order. Melissa, does this mean KJ riled the judge? Well, her lawyer did. Her lawyer did. The court hereby strikes the noting dates, meaning the dates you've put on calendar are gone because you did it wrong. For the plaintiff's motion for order to preserve evidence, which means she's going to set a new date for that, and the defendant's motion to dismiss. So a new date is going to be set for that. Instead, pursuant to section 2A3 of the standing order, the oppositions to the motions are due 21 days after the date on which the motion was filed, and the reply is due 14 days after the opposition is filed. You filed it on the wrong date for the motion to dismiss, and you didn't answer within 21 days because that was yesterday. So I imagine that this is why I think, okay, I'm hot now. I'm hot because now I'm riled. I imagine that the reason the judge chose to file 2 minute orders, and they were not filed at the same time. This one was much earlier in the day. I imagine, Emily's speculation from working with judges, because I was a research attorney for judges. I imagine that this judge filed this one first to say, let them wonder if I'm going to strike their motion. Let them wonder if I'm just going to grant it because they failed to respond. So I'm wondering. The mods are telling me that it might be a little bit blurry. Thank you, mods. Let me go double check. But it looks like it's good on my end. So if you guys aren't seeing that, it could be a YouTube thing. It could be a StreamYard thing. Let me check one other setting, and then I will get back into this because I want it to look good for you guys. But there are definitely times that StreamYard is like, what are we doing? And it makes it hard. Let me see. It looks like everything is good. Let me see one more time. We are at, I'm going to go back and see if it'll fix. Hopefully that fixed it. And hopefully it will be streaming in the right resolution. So anyway, thank you. Thank you, mods. I appreciate it. You guys are saying it's clear. Okay. It might be it. Look, when we've got over almost 6,000 people on stream, it definitely can get a little crazy on the YouTube end. So this came out first. Here's what I think. I think that the judge wanted to let them sit and see if the judge was going to just grant the motion. Because what the judge could have done today, the judge could have said, okay, I don't know why this is pulled up. We'll chat and then I'll pull it back up. The judge could have said, okay, first of all, you filed a motion beyond the page limit. Mm-hmm. And then you failed to file a response. Mm-hmm. There's a document that's still not filed from Without a Crystal Balls Corporation that's still pending that was due. So the judge could have said, I grant Salty's motion because it's unopposed. The judge is being kind, I think, and is saying, do not do this again. I have a standing order. You have been warned. Do not fuck with me. And so this is the judge saying, do not fuck with me. But it's not good. It's not good. It's not good. So they are not going to throw it out because the judge gave them an extension. The judge was not obligated to do so. I imagine somebody realized after this minute order was filed and called the clerk and was like, oh my God, 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 we're so sorry. I also imagine when they realized the page limit was off, they probably called the clerk and said, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God, we're so sorry. But knowing that the page limit was off should have given them an indication that they were not following the standing order. So this judge just said, what we're not going to do is not follow my fucking standing order. So this was the first one this morning. And then the second one, I think the judge could have done these in one minute order and chose to do them. I would have done this. I'm petty as fuck. I would have done this. I would have said, no. I'm going to do it in 2 minute orders and let them stress about whether I'm just going to deny their motion out of hand. Let them worry about it. So, and this, you guys, this is not KJ's stuff. This is the lawyer. This is not on KJ. This is on the lawyer. This is the lawyer's job to calendar things. So, minute order. Pursuant to standing order for civil cases setting trial date, related dates, and court procedures, standing order, docket number 20. You know what docket number 20 means? Here, let's pull the docket back up. Docket number 20 means it's listed. The standing order is listed. And the other judge also had a standing order that was listed. This is the wrong one. I have a lot of things pulled up tonight. We got a lot to talk about. The court hereby strikes the noting date, which means the date that we're going to hear it and respond. For the plaintiff's motion for order to preserve the evidence, because you didn't file a response defense, and defendant's motion to dismiss, because I don't think it was noticed for the right date based on the standing order, and I think that it didn't have that confer element so that Salty's team gets a little bit more time because the mandatory meet and confer was not done by KJ's attorney. Instead, pursuant to section 2A3 of the standing order, the oppositions to the motions are due 21 days after the date on which the motion was filed. And the reply is due 14 days after the opposition is filed. So you file the motion, then you have 21 days, and then you have 14 days from that. 21 days from the date that Salty's motion was filed was yesterday. This minute order does not strike the motions, rather it strikes the noting dates. The court will consider the motions upon the completion of the briefing in accordance with the foregoing schedule. Get it together. And then she filed a second one saying, I am not going to totally fuck you, but be warned, there's a standing order. So, I can pull up the standing order, but it is, and I pulled up part of it in my motion. I can, but there's no point to go over the standing order. The attorneys have it. The standing order says do it in 21 days. They didn't do it in 21 days. Does Saltz have a YouTube channel? No, because I imagine that he can't comment on his active cases unless it's in response. So no, but we can talk about Salty. I found something else. I don't understand this at all. I don't either. Is this looking good for Tati? Because I dislike KJ. And even though KJ has absolutely come for me and has been insulting and has tried to besmirch my ethics, everyone deserves a good legal defense. The hubris of the bomb drop emojis on Twitter and shit does not match this. Bugsy B, is it business or calendar days? It's calendar days, so not weekends. So everyone deserves a good legal defense. I think it is disingenuous to say, Mallory is an expert in all the things, and then have all of this shit go down within 2 days. The only reason we're talking about, if she hadn't popped off all over social with the amount of arrogance that she popped off with, then we wouldn't even be talking about what her lawyers were up to. But the sheer fucking arrogance of the thing has been like, okay, I would love to see what your defamation expert has done in this case. I would love to see what this attorney who used to work at O'Melveny has done. I would love to see the hundreds of hours you've spent. I love good lawyer work, even if I disagree with the lawyer. The judge in the case with Johnny Depp, don't love all the findings of fact. The writing was on fucking point. It was well broken down. It was well laid out. Salty, I'm sure we don't agree on everything. I mean, I don't really know, but the writing is sassy and it's very clear and easy to understand. So I dig it. I dig it. I love a sassy footnote. I just want to appreciate other people who are great at their craft, even if I don't agree with them or their side of the case. I want to see excellence in my profession, not missing dates on the motion calendar and disrespecting the female judge in the case, because I think it's really disrespectful. And I worked for judges, and judges, look, I had a judge who would just be like, Miss Baker, and my husband had a dental professor like this too, who would be like, Miss Baker, my wife does not listen to me. My children do not listen to me. This is my courtroom. All of you all will listen to me. And if I want to tell you what I had for lunch, you're going to sit there and listen to what I had for lunch. And if I want to tell you when you're going to file your motion, that's when you're going to file your motion. If I just want to sit here and chat about our day, we're going to sit here and chat about our day. You know why, Miss Baker? Why, Your Honor? Because it's my court. And this is the only place in the world where everybody has to listen to me. And that really summarizes judges for me. Federal judges, you have to just kind of take that up a couple notches. I had some very, very sassy judges. There was one judge who I absolutely adored. He was one of the toughest judges in our courtroom, and defense attorneys would just sit down and be like, I don't want to be in this court for this case because it's not going to go well for my client. I'm like, no, it's not going to go well for your client. This judge had the bailiff come up and get me in another court when I was on the record because he was getting impatient. And the other judge and him got into a screaming match in the hallway that I witnessed because the judge was like, I'm done with my calendar. I need her. And you talk too long. And the other judge was like, I'm not done. She's on this case and she's on the record. It was kind of epic. I'm like, gentlemen, I can't literally be in two places at the same time, but thanks. There's nothing I can do. And the judge is like, Miss Baker, go to my court. I'm like, I'm on the record in this court. I can't. I saw Uncivil Law. Hello, Uncivil Law. You caught something that I forgot to mention, and we're going to talk about it in a minute. I also like quality legal filings. Bad quality makes me sad. It makes me sad too. Everyone deserves to have an awesome attorney. I don't care if you like the person or not. Everyone deserves to have an awesome attorney. There are lots of awesome attorneys, and I enjoy seeing them be awesome, even if I don't like their clients, even if I don't like what they represent. There were defense attorneys who I enjoyed being in cases with, even if I wanted to win, even if I didn't like the case I was prosecuting, just because they were such good attorneys, and being on a case with them always made me better. And I really do love the profession of law, and I love when it's executed well. When it's done shittily, it's like, God damn it, this is what everybody hates about our profession. Stop it. And I don't understand why that's happening. I'll get off my soapbox and get back to talking about this lawsuit. What are your thoughts on KJ posting on Tati yesterday? Vixie, this is a fantastic question. And I love you so much for asking it, because I wanted to talk about taunting the lawyers, because I feel like they're taunting the judge in this. And I feel, oh, okay. I didn't finish the story. The judges who argued over me, the judges who argued with me did this kind of frequently, because there was one judge who moved very quickly and another judge who moved more slowly. And the slower courtroom was very chill, but the one who was really hyper, you would get out earlier for lunch. And then as a DA, sometimes you would end up with like a 2-hour lunch, and it was fucking rad. And so I was like, yeah, 2-hour lunch. Can we just be done with court now? But there was another DA. And when you're the DA on a case, most of the time, you need to be there on your case. But also there are times you have 6 cases on calendar in a morning or more. And so you have to be in all different courtrooms. But then also you have 6 different defense attorneys. So you have to be like, okay, this defense attorney will be here at 10, and this defense attorney will be here at 9, and this judge wants to be there at 8:30, but this defense attorney's in that other courtroom. And it's fucking hurting cats. So one of my colleagues was in the slow judge room, the slow judge's chambers on a, I don't know what they were in chambers for. And the other judge was done and was waiting on this DA, Bob. And I was in the courtroom that was done waiting. I don't remember what I was waiting for. I was waiting for something in the courtroom that was done and waiting for Bob. And so the judge goes out into the hallway. I can't even tell this story. I can't believe I'm telling this story. I've never told this story. Other than to other DAs. So the judge goes next door where the DA is on the record. No, in chambers, because I heard them yelling, because he went back into chambers. He would never have gone on the record and said this, and was like, I need this DA. I'm done with my calendar. And the judge is like, I don't care if you're done with your calendar. We're in a chambers conference. You can't just come into my chambers. These two didn't get along very well. You can't just come into my chambers. And the judge is like, I need him to come to court now. And he's like, yelling for his bailiff, bring this DA to my courtroom. The bailiff's like, bro, no, I'm not dragging the DA to your courtroom. So the other judge is like, he's staying here until we're done. And until we're done, you can't have him. When we are done, you can wait and we will have him. Now, the judge who had the DA that the other judge wanted was maybe 5'5", and it's relevant. The other judge was a fairly large man and was standing in the hallway, because I could hear them. I couldn't see them, but I knew him, and I imagined he was standing like this. I need him in my court right now. I'm done, and then you can have him back. And the other judge is like, you can't have him. And he's like, what are you going to do? This is what he's, judge to judge. What are you going to do? Get on a phone book and fight me? The fucking shade. I was in court, and the court staff, and I love the court staff because I worked with these courts for years. So I knew the court reporters and the court staff and was friendly with them, because that's the life of a criminal lawyer when you're in one courthouse all the time. And the court staff and I were like, oh no. Oh no. He just said, are you going to get on a phone book and fight me? You guys, I was sitting in court going, I can't, I'm gonna die. Like, I'm gonna die. They, all the time, all the time. It just, the two of them. And then there were stories, though I don't know if they're true. There were stories that one of the judges for the shorter judge would go in and put his chair down. So the judges in this particular courthouse sat up above everyone so they could look down on all of you. and they had business chairs, and his chair was pretty high up to get him over the bench. And they would go in and lower his chair down to fuck with him. It's so mean. It's so mean. Oh, you guys, it's so mean. Yeah, one day I'll tell the story about the judge sending the bailiff to actually try to arrest and ended up handcuffing a public defender and perp walking them into court. But that's a story for a different day. When I say things like don't rile the judges, it's because in my life, I've seen judges try to fight. I've seen a defense attorney try to fight a DA. I've seen a gun battle almost break out in a hallway. I've seen horrible things in family court, and I've seen a defense attorney get handcuffed and marched into court and then sue over it and then lose. It's just, the shit I've seen, you guys. I'm old. She's seen some shit. So when I talk about this, I'm just like, my experience is just that we've done this shit. So I was getting back to talking about riling Saltsy. Here's why it's a terrible fucking idea. On my other live stream, I talked about the fact, and I'm going to talk about it again, and then I'll stop talking about this aspect of it. But when I say that litigators take a whole approach to their cases and to vigorous representation, I mean it is a broad and total approach. And in that, I've pulled up one of the cases Saltsy talked about, and I don't think I quite made this clear enough, and I would like to make it more clear. So, this guy thought he could threaten to sue my client. Now I'm attending his preliminary hearing setting, I'll tell you what that is in a second, for the alleged sex crimes he tried to hide. Some cases I take personally. This is one. We will not stop pursuing him until justice is fully done. Here's the thing. Saltsy's a civil attorney. This dude tried to sue one of his clients civilly. And in Saltsy's work on that case, he found the sex crimes that dude tried to hide. Made sure that that was made obvious to the people who needed to make it obvious. And this dude is now pending criminal cases and was in custody in court for the preliminary hearing setting, which means he's now been arrested on those charges. So when I say don't rile the lawyers, it's because they will take a deeper look. And when you take a deeper look, shit is not always going to go well. So this was a case where he's like, oh, I'm going to sue your client. I imagine what happened is the client said, well, there's all these other things, and this is part of all these other things. And he went, okay, I'll go get into that. I'm seeing a comment scroll about KJ comments. And if people are trying to recreate what she's live about in the chat, the mods aren't going to allow that because this chat's about this chat. So that would be why, Courtney. So if there's comments like that are going to derail the chat on this is what's going on, if people want to go watch a live, they can go watch a live. But we're not going to, the law nerds just don't recreate it in the chat. So that would be why that those would be deleted, because the mods are just trying to keep it on topic with that. So that's why. So when you want to look deeper into a case, what you're going to look deeper in is everything. And in this case, dude ended up being going to be on trial for sex crimes. How I imagine that went down is the case was probably, he was trying to sue somebody. You guys remember the Taylor Swift case where she got her ass grabbed by a DJ? She immediately told everyone what had happened, and the DJ got fired. I talked about this in the podcast. The DJ got fired and then sued her for defamation for telling his boss about the tushy squeeze. I can't believe I just said tushy. I'm embarrassed for myself. It's cool. I'm old. And she countersued him for $1 and then went apeshit on him. But there are cases where things happen to women and then someone will bring a civil suit. And I wonder if that was the case in this, because it's like, oh, I'm going to sue you for whatever. And the woman's like, no, the reason I didn't do this or that is because of all this other shit. And Saltsy's like, let me look into all that other shit. Bro is now pending trial. So when I say that Saltsy will go after his cases, he will go after his cases. This is the person that KJ has chosen to fuck with. The tweets of the bomb drops after that motion was filed is taunting. The video that she's being sued over, well, one of the 40 she's being sued over being reposted, is absolutely taunting the lawyer. Here's the thing. Do you guys remember in the motion to not destroy your shit, how Salty talks about understanding and very well understanding YouTube because he represents Ryan's Toy Review? Well, he said the most popular just kidding. The most popular YouTuber of 2000, whatever it was. And we Googled it during that live in the video. And then we're like, oh, he must mean Ryan's Toy Review. Well, Ryan's Toy Review is being sued along with Google and everybody else after that big FTC ruling. So I have a podcast episode about it. I'm not going to get into the $170 million FTC ruling. What I am going to get into is the fact that there's this massive class action lawsuit that came after that. And in this massive class action lawsuit that came after that, there are individuals suing Google and a whole bunch of other people. This is that case, Hubbard versus Google LLC. Motion to insist Salty come on live chat after this case is over. Yes, I'm going to absolutely do everything I can to make sure that happens. Okay, so Ryan is not being sued on his own. Ryan is being sued with a lot of other people, Ryan's channel, not him personally, with a lot of other people over COPPA violations. So the Children's Online Privacy Protection Act. I will break down this case if you guys are interested, for sure. For sure. But they're suing Google and YouTube and Mattel and DreamWorks and all these people. So they're suing everybody in this class action. It's a mother of a 5-year-old saying that the COPPA violations on YouTube also applied to those channels. This is going to be long litigation, but you've got Mattel as a defendant. You've got DreamWorks as a defendant. You've got DreamWorks Animated Television as a defendant because they all have YouTube channels. You've got Mattel. You've got the plaintiff. That's the person suing. Nicole Hubbard is suing on behalf of her kid. Cartoon Network's a defendant. Google LLC is a defendant. YouTube LLC is a defendant. What I'm going to say about this is Google and YouTube are being sued after they were fined $173 million by the FTC. And I have videos on the channel about it. I have podcast episodes about the COPPA violations. It was like a year ago that came down, almost. So a lot of people are being sued, but Google and YouTube have who appear to be their heads of litigation assigned to this case. These are other plaintiffs because this is a class action. This is Google LLC, YouTube LLC. This is additional attorneys for them. This is Pocket Watch Inc., Cartoon Network, Pocket Watch, Hasbro. So these are going to be all their heads of litigation. DreamWorks, Google, more attorneys for Google. Because everyone wants, you want to say I'm a YouTube lawyer. I've never worked for Google, but this case interests me. DreamWorks, Hasbro, Cartoon Network, RFR Entertainment, RTR Entertainment, Remka Inc., and there's another one, Google. We're not through all the attorneys yet. Remka. Who is this attorney? Oh, I don't know. Salty. So we know that Salty is representing Remka along with all of these other attorneys. This docket of attorneys reads like a who's who of the heads of litigation for Google and YouTube. The mom is suing over COPPA violations. We'll get into the heart of the case another time. The mom is suing for violations of the Children's Online Privacy Protection Act because Google didn't enforce it. And that's why they got fined by the FTC, which kind of opened the floodgates for litigation. We will definitely do that. So Salty is in the defense group, which means all of these attorneys are going to be working together. That means that Salty is in an active case with the head attorneys from Google and YouTube. So if Salty is on a case in a massive class action after a $170 million fine by the government, I imagine that the attorneys for Google and YouTube are their heads of their litigation department. So if Salty is in a defense group with them on a case where they're all working together, I imagine that means that there is a text thread. I imagine that that means there are email threads and that they probably talk, 3 or 4 times a week. So if you are colleagues and you are being fucked with in another case, who are you going to talk about it with? The other attorneys that you talk to on the regular, especially if it regards their platform. So if you have the cell phone numbers of all of the heads of litigation for YouTube and Google, why would you poke that bear? Why would you poke that bear? Why would you poke that bear? Because I can guarantee you, if I was Salty, I would be like, do you want to listen to the shit that's going down on your platform right now in my other case? Let me tell you about the shit that's going down on your platform in my other case. So when Keemstar says things like, oh, you don't think YouTube's paying attention to this? Let me tell you why YouTube's paying attention to this. Because the lawyer that you're taking potshots at on fucking Twitter is also in a defense group with all the heads of litigation for Google and YouTube. So if you want to think that the lawyers are riled, the lawyers are going to be fucking riled. This is an active case that is a very, very big case for Google. Losing a class action like this for Google would be problematic. So Google is going to have all of the heads of their litigation team on this after they had that FTC fine. So why in the fuck would you try to mess with them? This attorney that you're fucking with on Twitter has a defense group with the heads of the platform where you make your living. What are you doing? What are you doing? Know who you're fucking with before you start fucking with them, because you're now messing with a lawyer that we know from very minimal amount of digging is connected to all the attorneys in the platforms where we have conversations, and has told you on his Twitter that some cases he will take personally. And there's a mugshot of a dude that tried to civilly sue his client. What message do you think that's sending? It's like, okay, yeah, he tried to sue my client and now he's in jail. Why is he in jail? Because we took a closer look. And we found some things we needed to point out to the district attorneys. So if you are going to look, we now know that Salty represents Ryan's Toy Review and Tati Westbrook. We also know that in this motion, KJ and her attorney have tried to impugn Jeffree Star and Shane Dawson and Trisha Paytas and PewDiePie. Can somebody tell me how many million subscribers we're talking about have been impugned in this? Like PewDiePie has over 100 million. So now we're talking about YouTubers that have hundreds upon hundreds of millions of subs. And if you're going to try to wrap in your motion, Shane Dawson, say what you will, still makes money for the program. Jeffree Star, again, still makes money for the program. Do you think YouTube gives a fuck about Jeffree Star's history? No. I think they care that he makes money for the program. PewDiePie makes money for the program. Tati Westbrook makes money for the program. Ryan's Toy Review makes money for the program. So if you don't think YouTube's going to be like, I'm sorry, what's a crystal ball? And why are they trying to take shots at every single YouTuber? Well, not every, but these YouTubers with a large platform. Do you not think At some point, YouTube is going to say, we're not doing this. Because now you have somebody actively filing a motion to dismiss, trying to rope in all of the other YouTubers. And the attorney that you're trying to take shots at on Twitter knows all those attorneys. Guys, who's the person that's going to get thrown under the bus in all of this? Because it's by the platform, not by the case, by the platform. If anyone's going to get deplatformed in all of this, who is it going to be? Because at some point, it's going to be like, enough. Lex said, it's become clear that KJ put about as much research into his lawyer and has as much respect for this legal process as she does for her videos. I mean, at least we can appreciate her consistency. Yes. Thank you, It's Thumper. It's over 149 million combined subs. Mm-hmm. Carla asked a great question. Can her adding them into the filing make it so they get dragged into court? No. Tati, no. They can sue them in another way. I think it riles the lawyers further. And we know that YouTube is going to be aware based on the fact that we know that they're in a defense group together. And when you're in a group like this, so if you are co-defending a case where you're all essentially on the same side because they're all being sued together over the same behavior. So if you're all on the same side being sued together for the same behavior, what the lawyers will do is share information, research, and they will be in contact very, very regularly. If Salty shared that info with YouTube, though, isn't that unethical? No. He can talk about his case, not in a public forum. He's talking about it to other lawyers. So he can absolutely talk to other lawyers about his case. No, absolutely. You can absolutely talk about your ongoing case with other lawyers. You wouldn't necessarily talk about your client's legal strategy, but all the things that have been done publicly on social, you can absolutely talk about. The privacy striking of channels, you can absolutely talk about because it's something he observed happening on the platform. So all of the stuff he's observed, he can absolutely talk about. You don't think a lawyer is not going to say to their friends, listen to this fuckery. I'm in this case for my client. And the other side keeps talking on social. You can look at what they've said on social. And then they keep doing this. And then they keep doing this. So is there any conflict? No, there isn't any conflict because conflict checks would have been done. There's no conflict for Saltsy to represent a YouTuber and then represent a different YouTuber against other YouTubers. It's very clear that he's the attorney that knows how the YouTubes work, in my opinion. Okay, so I wanted to point out two things because there's something that I'm looking at with regards to the motion to dismiss, but uncivil law pointed this out, and I wanted to point it out too because I don't think I expressly said it because it was so mind-boggling to me, and I had talked about so much in this motion to dismiss. But I was like, did I mention that? I don't know if I mentioned it. So there's 6,300 of us here on stream, like good old friends. So we're just going to talk about it real quick. Two things in this motion. One, when I went back through to look at this, it became very clear to me that and I said they didn't really attack any of the causes of action with regard to the defamation, but I went back through it again and they didn't even loop it in to ask for it to be dismissed just kind of out of hand. It's the jurisdiction, it's the does, which we've talked about is kind of dead in the water. It's the indispensable parties, which isn't going to really work in defamation. It's the Consumer Protection Act stuff, which I'm interested to see, but it's pled in there. So the pleadings on their face, I don't think are going to be dismissed because you have to assume that they're true on their face. And then the civil harassment. But none of this talks about the defamation. And then it doesn't talk about the defamation at the conclusion. But there is one more thing. I'm sorry if it's blurry at moments, you guys. There's nothing I can do about it. There are a lot of us on stream. I don't know how other streamers do it. Sorry. Sometimes StreamYard does that. And I pay for the StreamYard that does the 1080p and all the things. So I will try. But let me try to find the part of this that I hadn't seen because, again, this was such a fruit salad. Um, because there was a part where they cited California law, and I walked back through it and I'm like, wait a second. That's not, they also cited the practice guide, which is not something I normally do, and not something I often see people do. But I don't understand why they're citing California law with regard to the intentional infliction of emotional distress, because it's not even relevant to this. And again, this motion was so hard to read that I had to take another pass at it again to make sure I didn't miss anything. But we're talking about this under both California and Washington law. And then the Westbrooks failed to plead extreme and outrageous conduct under California law, but it's not a California case. So it's like, why are we talking about, this is Washington. Why are we talking about California law? Like, California law doesn't apply in Washington. And it's just the stuff like that when I look at this, I'm like, they didn't ask for the defamation to be dismissed. They only asked for jurisdiction. So they only asked for jurisdiction. Okay. But they didn't ask for they didn't ask for the defamation to be dismissed at all. So even if a few of these counts go, which we'll see the response, but even if a few of these counts go, the defamation counts are the big ones and they're still there because nobody ever asked to dismiss them. And then you're citing California law in a Washington court, which isn't binding on Washington because California. I don't understand. Ooh. Did you look up the lawyer who signed this pleading? I did. The lawyer who signed this pleading on the website has very impressive credentials. I did. So I'm going to, I looked Ashley's Pretty Little Life. I looked at the statute of limitations in the other two jurisdictions, and neither of them are coming up. So it's not like if the jurisdiction goes, it's gone. If the jurisdiction goes, it's like, okay, cool, we can file it elsewhere. Neither of them are going to time out because these were brought contemporaneously. I don't know. I'm going to try to get a few questions on this, and then we're going to move on to the Gabi DeMartino stuff. And then I can be like, oh, I can write down what time we're at so I don't have to go back and watch this to So I'll write that down as I get to it. But somebody was asking if this could have been written by someone, this could not have been written by someone who passed the bar exam. Kimberly, I don't know who wrote it. I don't know. I also don't know. YouTube is headquartered in California. Could that be the reason for California laws? It's YouTube's not relevant to this, except that it's the form wherein the defamation happened. So YouTube's place is irrelevant. Like, Tati and James can choose to file this case in anywhere where parts of this happened. They're saying they were Washington residents and parts of it happened there. They're arguing that because there's enough contacts with Washington, and I think based on some of her videos, the research she did in Washington pulls it to Washington and gives them control. But it doesn't mean if this disappears, they could just go to Minnesota and be like, okay, fine, we'll sue you here. Hi, how are you? We're going to sue you in Minnesota. Cool. You're here. You wanted us here, and now we're here. Or, okay, cool. You want us in California? We can go to California. They can still pick from other venues. It doesn't go away. Now you have to, if you switch it back to a different state, now they need other lawyers. I mean, Saltzi will still get a local attorney and get pro hoc vice wherever it is, because he's got enough experience that's not going to be a problem. Does a judge have to wait for the response before they rule? Yes, they do. And there will be a hearing. It feels like the motion was written by Miss Ball herself. When you pay for a lawyer, when you pay for any advice, therapist, attorney, trainer, nutritionist, hairstylist, when you pay a professional who does the thing that you do not do, listen. Listen to the person that you paid to talk. Listen. What did uncivil law say that you wanted to mention? Oh, he talked about the fact, sorry, I should have shouted that out more clearly. He talked about the fact very clearly that they never asked to dismiss the defamation. I'm like, did I even mention that? Like, there's sometimes that things are skipped over by me because I'm like, why didn't you do that? And I talked about the other stuff and that video got long. Did you notice in the argument section, plaintiff was used instead of defendant? I yelled about that in my video yesterday that I posted yesterday. I can't. I did notice that. I did notice that. Okay. I think we will forever refer to her as Miss Ball. I go with KJ because it's just easy. I might have mentioned it, but again, I wanted to call it out again because I'm like, here's why. Because if you're doing all of the like, boom, bombs are dropping, this one's for you guys. If you're pulling all that shit on social media, it better be good. I wanted it to be good. Look, nobody likes watching a football game where it's like 120-1. That doesn't happen in football. Is 60 reasonable in football? Like 60-1. I played water polo. Nobody wants to watch a water polo game where it's like 20-0. It's no fun. People want there to be a game. I enjoy the legal wrangling. This is stressful for the parties involved. I'm not one of them. I just want to watch clever lawyers do clever lawyerly things with sassy footnotes. And instead, we've got a footnote. We've got one footnote. It's fine. I know it's not written for me. I get it. We've got one footnote. Where's our one footnote? We've got one footnote in this, which is fine. We don't have to be rife with footnotes. It's up here. My Google Drive is like, what are you doing? Why do you have so many tabs open? Get your shit together, lady. We have one footnote. That's fine. I love a juicy footnote. This is our one footnote. Undersigned counsel is aware the cited evidence, again, YouTube videos and Zillow are not evidence, includes profanity that would normally be inappropriate for judicial proceedings. However, believes the evidence is important to convey the nature of the scandals that format the basis for the suit. Again, that's not the basis for the suits, but believe the evidence. I'm looking for a lawyerly chess match. I'm looking for a counter move where we all can go, oh, that's clever. We like it. And I don't care if we like Tati or if we like KJ. Like, who cares who likes who? Ooh. Let's see. But what we've got right now is the clock run up on the field. I was looking for the fun. But yes, we have Zillow and a cute puppy. I've used Zillow for property lines. Correct, Miss Wood. But a lawyer saying he saw a thing on Zillow that's purporting to report other records is like levels of not the original shit. The legal way of saying it's a bunch of hearsay. I mean, Grammarly should have caught some of these things. Somebody said it's the Queen's Gambit. I still can't get over the meme site in a federal court reply. Me neither. Knowyourmeme.com. You guys, I know, don't forget about the murderous conspiracy. You guys, you're now accusing other YouTubers of a murderous conspiracy. However, it is protected by legal privilege. But I can see, if the people named in this read it at all, I can see Jeffrey just being like, why did you spell my name wrong? Why is my name spelled wrong? It kills me too. Because it also makes me feel like I've misread something and I just can't understand it. Yes, there will be discovery. There will absolutely be discovery. We're at the very beginning of a long process with this, but I'm here for all of it. I'm hoping it gets better. As a DA, would I have liked to face Salty in court? It would have definitely been amusing, but Salty was also a DA, so I would have very much enjoyed working together as a DA. I don't know if I'd want to be on the other side of a Salty lawsuit. But also, I don't practice in civil law anymore because civil law is a fucking shit show of dick measuring emails. It's just... Civil is not civilized. Criminal law, the attorneys were much more civilized to one another. Civil is like, I'm never going to see you again, and I'm going to burn you to the ground and then tell you that you're stupid while I blow your ashes away. I did not love civil. I didn't. I love working with y'all. I love breaking down the law. I love consulting with my clients. I don't love it. Let's get to Gabi. You're absolutely right, you guys. Let's get to Gabi. We're moving on. We've beaten this quite a lot, and I will go through Gabi and talk about kind of my background, like what I thought about it, but we really are an hour and 20 minutes in. Somebody's asking me if I think KJ will lose her chat room. I don't know what a chat room is. Sorry, I don't. Okay. We're going to talk about Gabi DeMartino, who's a YouTuber and has a Amy, I appreciate this. I appreciate this. Civil can be ratchet. It really can be. Gabi is a YouTuber. She has an OnlyFans. Here's the thing. Okay, I've got to address two things. One, we're going to talk about sexy time stuff. We're going to talk about OnlyFans, and we're going to talk about what she did. I am not going to talk about it in detail. We're going to talk about it in the law stuff. I linked channels below that really go into the background of all the things and like the kind of history back there. I'm not familiar with Gabi DeMartino. Yes, had an OnlyFans, which is fair. I have no shade at OnlyFans at all. No shade at OnlyFans. Ocean Silhouette, it's an excellent point that Zillow is wrong sometimes. It says my parents' house has a 2-bathroom, and I'd like to know where the fuck the extra bathroom was all my life. It's fair. So when it comes to things like OnlyFans is legal. OnlyFans is fine. OnlyFans is generally a site for adult content. Yes, it's used for other things. And it's been used for some people use it for art, I suppose. I don't know. The only thing I know about OnlyFans is that I joke about wanting to just read smut like fanfic novels on there in my sexy Emily voice. Because I think it would be hilarious to just be like, "Hi, what's up? Let's read porn." But that would be for OnlyFans because I think it'd be funny. But I've seen that like Nick Schneider has an OnlyFans, Trisha Paytas has an OnlyFans. Like I saw all kinds of stuff about Tana Mojo because she posted like a 3 million in a month on OnlyFans thing, and it's for like sexy adulty stuff, which is fine. If you want to put, a Ringo vibrating cock ring on and videotape it for OnlyFans, go right ahead. There is no shade to me on how people want to make their money unless it's illegal. When I talked about cases I've prosecuted in prostitution, people were like, they're sex workers. I'm like, no, sex workers imply a legality for sure. So when I talk about sex work, I will absolutely talk about sex work. It is fine. Do what you like. It's your body. Go right ahead. When I talk about things like prostitution, I am talking about the illegal selling of your body. And I have worked with people in the adult industry. I've worked with companies in the adult industry for legal stuff. Not a problem at all. Not a problem at all. So when I mention things like prostitution, it's because I'm talking about my experience as a district attorney where prostitution was a crime, where I prosecuted it, and where their pimps would bring them into court, and we would have pimp day. I've told that story. But prostitution is still a crime in a lot of places and will be referred to as such because selling sex in some places is a crime. Selling you having sex on film, not a crime. Selling pictures of your lady or gentleman bits, not a crime. Unless. Lola Pepper asked, did they use murderous conspiracy because of James Charles mentioning he felt suicidal? No, because that wouldn't be murder. Sorry. The DA. You guys, I'm not going to stop talking about the Ringo until I get to talk about the Ringo. Pimp Day. Pimp Day, Allison, was the day that the pimps would bring in all of the prostitutes to clear their warrants because in street prostitution, there were still pimps who ran ladies. A lot of it, as it stepped up, got into sex trafficking, which is dark and a whole other thing. Like Pimp Day can be kind of funny. People chose to be in that work. But as I was getting later on in my career, we were seeing less and less like people who actually worked on the street and more people who, yes, Raylo fan. When I talk about fanfic smut, Raylo is exactly what I think of because Kylo Ren is hot. I think I could get through it, but I'm not quite sure. So it got into more of the human trafficking aspect towards the end of my career, which was really awful, but which is kind of what I appreciate about things like OnlyFans is that you kind of give people an option for monetizing things that they're really wanting to do in a safe way where they don't have to do that on the street. So I'm totally cool with it. That said, OnlyFans is for 18 plus content for people who are 18 plus. It seems that Gabi has not gone like full nude on her OnlyFans. So she posted, and again, not familiar with OnlyFans, but she had an OnlyFans where you paid monthly. And I've learned this from the creators I listed below. She had an OnlyFans where you paid monthly and then got content monthly that wouldn't necessarily be on her normal channel. And you got that monthly content. And then you had to pay. Sometimes there were other pictures that you could pay for. And when you go to pay for an extra thing, you don't get a sneaky peek. You just get a title and an amount. She threw up a $3 photo called Won't Put My Panties On with like a kind of emoji. So it feels to me that because she had not gone full nude on her OnlyFans, that she had been asking or had been asked for that she knew that would be a clickbaity title for like, if you haven't gone full nude and you're on OnlyFans, eventually people are going to expect to see your vagina. Like, unless you make it clear that this OnlyFans is not for that. So if you're putting something out there saying you pay $9.99 a month or whatever it is, and then you pay $3 for this extra thing, and the title of it is Won't Put My Panties On, I think most of the adults would expect something at least scanty, right? So it's totally clickbaity. It's totally like, maybe there's a little something. And then it was a video of her as a child at 3 years old, lifting up her dress, in fact, without her panties on. Gabi's a YouTuber. All the channels I watched said that hers is not a zero follow fee. Everything I watched said that it was a paid. So she is a very big YouTuber. I mean, she and her sister have 9 million. Terex, the problem with sex trafficking is it's a huge ring and hush money to keep it going as a business. When one gets shut down, another pops up. Sex trafficking is a huge and unspoken problem, especially because you've got people like Tana Mojo making $3 million up on their OnlyFans. I mean, again, people in sex trafficking are forced into it and don't want to do that. So that is the issue. Sex trafficking is a huge international issue. We'll have another night into the depressing and very real topic of sex trafficking. I used to work near LAX. Oh, oops. We're going into a story now. Sorry. I used to work near I used to live near LAX and at the In-N-Out Burger, because when you get off a plane in LA, the first fucking thing you should do is go to In-N-Out. And so there are In-N-Outs. There are 2 of them near the airport. So the one near where I lived, near LAX, had sex trafficking notifications in all of the bathrooms and on the trays in multiple languages because it's known that people are trafficked through the airport. I mean, they're not the only thing trafficked through the airport. I worked with the airport. I worked with airport police, but it's known that happens. So there are warnings about sex trafficking in all kinds of languages. And my son was like, we were there for a school meeting and he was reading the placemat going, what is this? And I'm like, this is talking about people who are taken from their families or their lives against their will and forced into adult, and we call it, boy girl things at our house because that is our kids' vernacular, but we talk about like sexy time things. And for that kind of work. And he's like they take people and make them do things they don't want to do. Yes. Oh, and I'm like, yes. And he's like, that's horrible. I'm like, yes. And he goes, like adult people? I'm like, adult people and kid people. And he's like, oh, no. So the airports have warnings. And it's just tremendously sad. Passenger shaming has said, as a former flight attendant, I can tell you we were one of the first lines of defense. I'm also a former cop win-win, and it's horrific. Yeah, because you can see it, I would imagine, on a plane. Just like you can tell the people who are being deported, I would imagine, you can tell who's sitting next to an agent being flown. But yeah, it's horrible. And anyway, it's a horrible issue. So I get particularly salty about a creator saying, clickbaiting a video of herself as a 3-year-old. So then when I reached out to my friends who do work, I have a friend who is a special prosecutor, essentially, for violence against children, and that includes a whole lot of CP. It's not a fun area to have to be a DA in, by the way. But even then, the DAs don't have access to the things. They have access to some of the things when they need to file, and then the police keep the things locked away. It's treated, the way it's handled by the DAs is always respectful, but it's still really fucking traumatizing. So seeing this, I reached out and was like, what do you think of this? And I want to just share with you the conversation we have of like, would you prosecute this? And then I'll talk about the federal laws and the laws where I believe Gabi lives. It looks like from a basic internet search that she lives somewhere in Pennsylvania. So we talked about it from like a California standard, even though OnlyFans is a London company. So this is DAs talking about, hey, this happens. Someone sells something for money, primes it on a website that is known for adult content where people pay, and then tags it with and then it is a child. So the first thing you would think about is the making. And the making of the thing, it's clear that this was a home video. It was not made for purposes of titillation, is what a lot of the laws say, but it was not made for that purpose. Like, that's not what it is. It's not somebody in a suggestive situation. And I'm going to juxtapose what she did with like the movie Cuties. So the movie Cuties there was an indictment in Texas. There's been a lot of talk about it because it's very suggestive, and the actresses were like 11 and 12. And the dances are very suggestive. All of it's very suggestive. So the fact that we have something like Cuties to compare it to, that's what I'm going to compare it to, because it's in the pop culture, as opposed to trying to describe things that we've prosecuted, because we're not doing that. So it's clear that this wasn't made for that purpose. So it's not made for that purpose. And so passenger shaming, that's the one we would go to. My mom was also a flight attendant for over 30 years, and the things they saw. So it's sold suggestively, but it wasn't filmed suggestively. So then you've got to go to the question of distribution. Like, is the distribution enough under these? And when we got to, would you prosecute it or would you not prosecute it? Her take on it was, I don't know if I can prosecute this because it's not in a sexual context. It's sold that way, but the image itself is not. So then we were talking about the deplatforming, and she's like, oh, absolutely. I mean, it absolutely violates OnlyFans terms of service. So then I'm like, okay, so in California, it would be very hard to go to trial because it's not a suggestive video. The way that 11-year-olds twerking with their pelvis on camera in a suggestive way you could prosecute on that if somebody made that and distributed that. And that's a whole different conversation. But images like that are more suggestive. So the image itself is not super suggestive. So this is what we're going through, Felicia. I'm taking you through the way that I would address a situation like this from the legal side. KH, yes, but in a kid way. It's not, from everything I've seen about it, in a kid way. She lost her OnlyFans. Absolutely. So I pulled up Pennsylvania so that we could talk about this because there's no question in my mind that this shouldn't have been done. There's no question in my mind that she put her fans in a horrible position and she normalized something that shouldn't be normalized. There's no question in my mind that she has a young audience and this normalizes the selling of yourself as a child. And normalizing selling yourself as a child and images of children is very damaging, even if it may not be prosecutable. Wouldn't you want to prosecute it to set a standard for future posts such as this? Chala, not if the law doesn't allow me to. And so I'm going to read you what the law says and we'll talk about it. The framing of cuties was not necessarily sexualized. Within the movie, it was. So the dances themselves, the images, I'm talking about the images in the movie. The images in the movie were very, very sexualized. Especially there was a part where she was simulating an orgasm in her underwear wet. There's no way you can, in my mind, I look at that going, this is putting a child in a sexualized situation. But a kid flipping their dress up is not the same kind of sexualized situation. So where I fall down on this, we're going to talk about, can you prosecute it? Should this not have been done? Absolutely. Does this normalize selling younger and younger bodies? Yes. Does that set a horrible, horrible precedent? Yes. Should the internet call her ass out for that? Absolutely. Because we see younger and younger children on things like TikTok doing all of the dances that are very, very much sexualized. So we're now normalizing that to an audience, which is very problematic to me. Does it rise to the level of criminal is the question. Terrible idea? Yes. Normalizing things that shouldn't have been normalized? Yes. In my mind, clickbaiting her audience to make a shit ton of money, knowing that her audience would be interested in her saying, won't put my panties on? Absolutely. It's disgusting. It shouldn't have happened. Am I glad OnlyFans canceled her? Yes. Am I glad creators have called her out on it? Yes. The problem is the law doesn't look at the caption. The law looks at the image. So what I say, and I say this regularly, is that the law doesn't catch up to what we're doing just yet. Is this an example? And can this be an example for maybe we need to reevaluate this? Yes. Pennsylvania actually has a pretty forward-looking sexting statute where kids can get in trouble for texting sexual pictures back and forth, which happens with teens and even younger than teens all the time. I mean, I had kids in juvenile court that were pregnant at 12 and 13 years old. It was horrifying. Don't pedophiles get arrested for having nude photos and sharing them online? Yes, Richard, in different contexts, yes, they do. But where it breaks down is that a lot of those are created and compiled for that purpose. And here, I think the purpose is not sexual gratification. I think the purpose is financial exploitation. I don't think she is intending to sell it for sexual gratification to her fans. She was intending to sell it to make herself money. And it feels like a non sequitur legal shit, but it matters. But kids there are sexting laws that would kind of address a kid being like, ooh, and taking pictures and sending it to somebody and then it getting sent. So let's talk about what the law says, because that's really what we're here to do. Creators have really well called this out. Do I have a firm position on whether this is illegal per se? It's hard. So when I looked at the Pennsylvania statute, this is what the Pennsylvania statute says. And again, as a former prosecutor, I'm going to look at, okay, can I prove this to a jury beyond a reasonable doubt? And I'm going to let you guys think that way too. We're all going to put prosecutor hats on. We're all going to think like a prosecutor. I've told you the facts. None of us are going to see the image. We're going to assume that the image is what it is. A family situation where it's like a kid being a kid. We're going to assume that's what it is because that's what we've been told. And I'm sorry if the video is not syncing. I'm going to answer this. Courtney Witt asked, could the people that paid and downloaded it get in trouble? I'm going to answer that next. That's part two. And we're going to have to move fast because we are running out of time. Uncivil law. Hello. What is your view of prosecuting the makers and distributors of the movie Cuties? You and I need to have that conversation. Could be an interesting discussion. It could be. It also, I think the international aspect of that's really interesting. I have a whole podcast episode on what I think about Cuties. I think it's really interesting that they got indicted in Texas, and I'm curious to see if other states follow suit with what Texas did. So Pennsylvania says, dissemination of photographs, videotapes, computer depictions, films, any person who knowingly sells, distributes, it goes into all the different kinds of dissemination, or who possesses for the purposes of sale. Well, we know it was sold. Any type of material depicting a child under the age of 18 years old engaging in prohibited sexual act or the simulation of such acts. This is where I think Cuties falls down, because Cuties has the simulation of such acts. There's points where they're basically doing the WAP dance. And if WAP is not simulating sexual activity, I don't know what the fuck it's doing. But I don't know if I could take a family video of a 3-year-old to a jury and say it's a sex act or the simulation of a sex act. I don't know if I could make that argument. It doesn't mean it's not wrong. And this, I say this a lot on this channel. Sometimes legal and moral, a lot of times legal and moral don't match up. Like there are lots of things where like, I hate that result. And I'm like, you're right. You're right to hate that result. And when we hate the result, law nerds, what do? We look at the people who made the law that says this shit. And then we go, people, can we do better so we don't have little kid private parts all getting sold up on the internet? It's a problem. We don't like the problem. Can you do better? Do better. Write better laws. Write better laws. That's what we do. We talk to the people who wrote the laws and we say, this is out of step with the way that our culture is moving so fast that the laws haven't already kept up with it. So we are moving so quickly that it's hard to keep up with. Are the other photos on her OnlyFans all non-sexual? I don't know. I watched one YouTube video of somebody who's like, I bought your OnlyFans, so you don't have to. And there were booby pictures and like making out with boyfriend pictures. So I don't think they're non-sexual. I think some of them are mildly sexual. It's a video. Yes, it's absolutely a video. But I know you guys, I know that this is not the answer that we want. But I don't think a video as it's been described, I don't want to look at it. I don't want to watch Cuties. I don't want to look at it. But the video as it's been described, also, I've had kids. I have 2 of them. I know exactly what 3-year-old little boys were like. They were fascinated with their outdoor plumbing, fascinated with their little man bits. I get it. But I don't know if like, I didn't even take pictures of my kids in the bathtub with that exposed because I didn't want to, like, I'm just not going to. I don't know if she was pandering. I'm going to tell you what I think. Here's what I think. I really think she clickbaited it because she knew that people were wanting the content to go further. And she thought that it would be funny to clickbait it and then put up a picture of her as a kid. The problem is she clickbaited an image of a child with naked lady bits. and it's gross. But the law says prohibited sexual act or simulation of such acts. Opinions on how her father asked her to pull up the dress with the purpose of filming it. She claimed to be essayed by a family member in the past. That would be a very, very tough argument to a jury to say that this was filmed for that purpose. Juries do not, in my experience, which is in California, have a very hard time finding that someone would do that, especially a parent. Jury, without very clear proof, without very clear sexualizing and being silly, though it's very hard to prove the intent there. And it has been hard to prove intent in much more blatant cases than this. And I've seen people lose that case where it's like, no, the father was filming the daughter in the bathtub and being suggestive about it. And the jury's like, no, they're filming a kid in the bathtub. It's not enough. So I've seen it. And I've seen that not go well for the prosecutors. So do I think this meets Pennsylvania's standard? I don't think it's the simulation of such an act. And I don't think it's engaging. I mean, it's clearly not engaging in a sexual act, but I don't think it's the simulation of a sexual act for the purpose of Pennsylvania law. I don't like it, but again, legal, not moral. So I pulled the federal statute too, because I pulled the federal statute in the Cuties case. And the federal statute also is the visual depiction of a minor engaging in sexually explicit contact or conduct. And sexually explicit conduct in something like Cuties, again, like WAP dance. I think that there's an argument there. But here, I don't think there is sexually explicit conduct with a visual depiction of sexually explicit conduct. That doesn't make it not gross. And flashing doesn't often carry when it's distribution of images like this. That would be an in-person law. Could Pennsylvania apply their statute that way? I think it'd be a really big reach because generally there's rules about the kind of conduct there. So you are absolutely welcome, Corinne, for covering what's happening to Brittany. Sorry, I moved my screens so I could read the law, and then I look away from the camera to read these. I think there's an argument that the site is for 18 plus, but I don't think it's going to come up with criminal stuff. Judy says, is misrepresentation illegal? Yes, but I don't think the advertising misrepresentation on this would fly because it's not really misrepresenting it, is it? It is and it isn't. I think that would be a hard argument. I know you guys, I don't like it. Look, I don't like it either, but it's a hard argument. It's hard. Maybe, but it's hard to imagine you could find that for the purpose of, oh, you're chatting with somebody else. No worries. I can't believe a lot of CP can be passed through loopholes. It can be. A lot of it absolutely can be. So that's the federal standard, and a lot of states follow it. Pennsylvania does have a very forward-looking teen sexting law, but it also protects teens from not being registered as sex offenders, which is not necessarily a bad thing. Teens' brains aren't fully formed and they have phones and they have hormones. I mean, but teen sexting is a huge issue as well. It's just, could somebody that paid for it sue her? That's a very interesting question. I think they should all have gotten their money back. I think that they probably all destroyed the video. The thing with the people who purchased it is they didn't purchase it for the purposes of purchasing an image of a child. And I don't think you could argue, like, when I think of like, what would I stand up and argue in my integrity? I don't think you can argue somebody on an 18 plus site who's only ever seen images of her as an adult from what has been reported could say, oh, they knew this one was going to be something different. Say she put this content on Pornhub rather than OnlyFans. Does that really change? It doesn't. It's a great question. But the reason I think it doesn't change on the form is because the law goes to what's in the image, not how it was posted. Do I think that she was trying to make money off of this? Yes. Do I think that's gross? Yes. Yes, I do. If she really wanted it to just like share it with friends, then she would put it on her social. Did she choose not to put it on her social for a reason? Probably. Would Instagram have taken it down? Probably. Would Twitter have taken it down? I don't know. I was in the grocery store scrolling through Twitter on my phone and saw Trisha Paytas's full asshole. I was not prepared. I had to unfollow her on Twitter because I couldn't. Like I don't need that popping up in my feed, like at me. So Twitter leaves a lot of shit up, like a lot. Miley Cyrus's boobs popped up in my Twitter today because she's on the cover of Rolling Stone, all nipped out. I mean, her boobs look fantastic. Go Miley, but shit just pops up on Twitter. Instagram would have deleted it. Facebook would have deleted it. So a lot of social medias wouldn't have allowed this up. But it really brought the question up to me that we've gotten to a place where influencers are like, I have a big enough platform, and because I have a big enough platform, I can be cheeky in this way that's completely fucking inappropriate for money, and it'll be fine. Correct, Pink Flamingo. I didn't need that. I had to unfollow Trish because of that too. Yes. I mean, there's time I enjoyed following Trish because she does get herself into mess. I had to stop with that. And then other stuff happened. And I can't. Did it wink? No, it had toilet paper. It's probably still up on her Twitter. If y'all want to see it, y'all welcome to support Trish. I mean, she owns what she wants to do. I have issues with a lot of what she does. I think Pornhub probably would have deleted it too. We're surely demonetized at this point, so whatever. The chat seems to want to indict this OnlyFans thing for Puritan content and not indict cuties at the same time. Double standard, it confuses me. I mean, when comparing the two, I see a much clearer argument to prosecute cuties than to prosecute this. I also understand that we're getting into a conversation where moral and legal conflict, where there are people that can say, okay, I understand the point the Cuties film was trying to make. So because it was trying to make a point and trying to tell a story, and it went to Sundance, those images don't seem as sexualized. But somebody selling it in this other form, that this form seems less legitimate and this form seems more sexualized. So because the form seems more sexualized, this one's problematic. But the form is irrelevant. The content is what's looked at. And the content of Cuties is way more sexualized than the content of this post. That doesn't mean it's right. It just means it's not necessarily criminal. And that is what happens in law a lot. And I know it's not popular, but here's the thing. It's time to have a conversation and bigger conversation about what's okay. And then it's also time to have conversations about what's the boundaries of legislating stuff and what's the boundaries of saying what people can and can't do. Because we really pushed away in the US, we pushed away from legislating everything. And we've pushed away and pushed towards making our laws more all-encompassing. So there were all kinds of laws that made homosexuality illegal. We've pushed away from all of those. So we've really pushed away from legislating what can happen between people. And we don't always legislate stuff with a super heavy hand when it comes to this. Is that problematic? Yes. Yes, we're starting to get sexting statutes. Yes, we're starting to get things like revenge porn statutes. All of those are good things. But we're also getting movies like Cuties. But Cuties, and I have a podcast episode of the Get Legit Lawn Shit podcast all about Cuties where I go through the issues. I have a video here on YouTube. I have a video where I react to parts of the video that I'm going to put up for members only. Why members only? Because YouTube was like, you can't put that up. And I'm like, but I can. I want to, we can put it up. I just can't monetize it. But I don't know if everybody wants to see that. Like people are choosing not to watch it, which is fine. But I have content around Cuties. Cuties is also filmed internationally with international actors. So the laws in France are not something that I'm going to comment on because it is not my wheelhouse at all. But the laws in France are going to be different than the laws here. And so can the distributors here get into trouble? Yes. Can the people who made the film get into trouble here? Probably not. Can the people who were in the movie get into trouble here? Probably not. Can the distributors? Maybe. They got indicted in Texas, and I have a video on the channel about that. So the actions in Cuties are far more sexualized than the actions here. The form has to come out of it. Like, but that's a Sundance film, and this is an OnlyFans. It's irrelevant. What's the image here, and what's the image there? In this case, the image is video clips. So will she lose her YouTube? Probably not because of YouTube, but will there be like cancel-y blowback on it? Possibly. But I saw her fans really defending her, going, it was a mistake. And that's where I have problems with this. The normalizing of it becomes problematic. And the normalizing of these things is where we chip away at what kids think are okay and why we have, 12-year-olds WAP dancing on TikTok. I'm okay with an 18-year-old WAP dancing on TikTok. Have at it. I'm not okay with kids doing it. Oh, Pink Flamingo. That is definitely not an end of stream question. I don't know that I have a clear answer for you on that wouldn't take 15 forevers. 15 forevers. And it just depends on actions and on the states. But the stated purpose is hugely problematic, but the laws don't go to stated purpose. The laws go to actions. And yes, I agree, feeling kind of breezy. It's exactly the issue with echo chambers. It's why we have really open and robust and brilliant conversation here. I really do absolutely enjoy you guys. One of the hardest things to talk about in law school, and this goes to part of it, Lemon Difference says First Amendment. One of the hardest things to go through in law school in that first year is getting through the moral legal divide. I had less of an issue with it than some, and I don't know. I'm an Enneagram 1. I'm a Taurus, and I'm just like, okay, well, the law says this. I don't like that, but I'm here to interpret the law, not to legislate. If I want to be a legislator, I'll go be a legislator. Like for me, it was just, oh, okay, well, I think that law's stupid. But as a lawyer, it's not my job to fix it. It's my job to interpret it and work with it and learn how the courts interpret it. If I want to change it, then I should go work in Washington. And I did go work in Washington. Oh, and I fucking hated it. D'Angelo had a video about Cuties. I cannot love D'Angelo Wallace anymore. He is so clever and so thoughtful and just incredibly observant and bright. And I just enjoy it. Peapot Fairy, if I had paid for an adult video and got this instead, it could have triggered PTSD flashbacks. Gabi may have hurt people with this. She absolutely could have hurt people with this. She absolutely could have hurt victims of abuse with this. She could have hurt a lot of people with this. So if there's room to sue her, it would be for things like that. Will people do that? I don't know. It was horrendously irresponsible. It was horrendously irresponsible. So one of the things, I don't know my moon rising. I need to reach out to Ant and ask him. I don't know my moon rising and ask him. I have a lot of Taurus in my chart. That's what I remember, is that I have a lot of Taurus. I mean, D'Angelo might just be here to help us all recover from all of this. So he might be. Philosopher Logic, INTJ. I always forget my letter 1. Enneagram 5, wing 4, also Taurus. Hello. I don't know a ton of 5s. I love that. So in law school, the first year, you have to deal with all of the like, okay, but it's not right, but it's legal. And how do I interpret laws that I don't necessarily agree with? How do I work with laws that I don't necessarily agree with? How do I benefit my client using laws I don't necessarily agree with? And I was like, okay, well, that's the law. And if I don't agree with it, this is the avenue that you go with that. So it didn't bother me as much, but there were times that you're just like, the law doesn't fix this. And it would make me sad. Like it wouldn't necessarily make me angry, but I'm like, it makes me sad. Like the law doesn't necessarily fix this. And I talk about it in my Breonna Taylor content. I'm like, we can hate this result and understand why this is the result. And so there are times we will see that in law where the law does not fix, and the law is not meant to fix every single problem that we have. And so there's a lot of morality stuff that we cannot fix. And when we get into things like legislating morality, it's hard conversations. We absolutely should have conversations about legislating morality and about where the boundaries are of legislating morality, because they used to legislate homosexuality and think that that was moral, and that's fucked. So when we go into legislating morality, you can end up in a place you really don't like. And that's where this conversation is like, LB says children can't consent. It's shameful that parents and adults get away with violating their rights on films. I agree with a lot of that. The problem with the Gabi DeMartino situation is she's the one that shared it. She shared it. And it's another quirk to it but she's the one that shared it. It would be very, very hard to get up in front of a jury and say, this is why this is CP. It would be very, very, very hard to argue that. And a jury wouldn't like it at all on that. Jillian, as a 1L, I had opinions about strict liability and criminal law. Absolutely. Absolutely. And you look at it and you go, the law sucks. I don't like this result. But you have to, this is where my chair is not moving with me this evening. It's like stuck in my carpet. I love this rug, but sometimes. There are definitely times when the law doesn't fix the thing we want it to fix. The law moves slowly. The law moves slowly so that we don't do stupid shit. Like it's meant to move slowly to protect us from crazy results. So Rebecca asked, I know it doesn't, where'd it go? How is selling photos or videos of a child genital not CP? Because the law requires it to be a minor engaging in sexual conduct or in sexually explicit conduct. So just a body part is not sexually explicit conduct on its face. And that's why I'm like, oh, Classy Mom was like, twinkle, twinkle, notice number 1. Absolutely, twinkle, twinkle, notice 1. Zoe said, what's 1L? So your first year of law school is your 1L year, the year that we see Elle Woods go through before she ends up in a murder trial and wins it in 7 seconds. The year we see Elle Woods go through is her 1L, your first year of law school. Your 2L is your second year of law school, and your 3L is your third year of law school. And there are some programs that go into a 4L if you go into like a part-time program, a night program, or a program where you're working. And that's for the US. It's different in other places, but there's a book called 1L that I really enjoy that's about that first year of law school. And you have to learn to treat your brain differently. Red Bag read books. Have you watched the new episode of The Mandalorian? I did, and we're going to go watch it again. And I can't talk about it because I'm sure people haven't. So there are definitely going to be times, and there are going to be more times where we talk about the law and it's like, I'm confused why this doesn't work this way. But the federal standard and the Pennsylvania standard require more than what we have here. It does not make it right. It makes it not criminally liable. Could there be some aspect of civil liability? If I think of some, I'll tell you. Obviously, it violated terms of use of the platform. So Angela said, nudity itself isn't inherently sexual, but selling pictures of nude minors, regardless of content, should have consequences besides losing a social media platform. I don't necessarily disagree, but also how do you legislate like a picture of a kid in a bathtub being sent from me to my mom versus a picture of or a video of a kid, jumping up and down and their dress goes up and they're not wearing underwear because they're 3. Where is the boundaries? And it might be the selling. I mean, the selling might be the boundary, but it's a tough one. It's a really, really tough one. So this is why, no, Jay, the platform doesn't matter. In the way the laws are written, the platform doesn't matter. It doesn't say like if the image is here, it's problematic, and if it's there, it's not. It's what's in the image that's problematic itself. So that's why. Sorry. That's why I've been talking for so long. Like I'm sticky. Because I put on lip gloss. I love this lip gloss, but after 2 hours of talking, it's like, so yeah. Are there consent issues? Well, no, it's her. Yes, Catherine, are you seeing the new gavel colors? They change after people have been a member for a month and for 2 months. So we will start seeing more variety of gavel colors. The longer that you've been a member, the different colors you get. I'm very excited. So we're going to share the colors, like what they are, so everybody knows. But the different gavel colors are people who have been longer. Did I pronounce WAP wrong? WAP, WAP. I don't know. Maybe. Wet ass poultry. We made a song in somebody else's chat. It was created to be like Patreon, but was turned into an 18+ site instead. I thought, Jessica, that it was kind of created to be a Patreon competitor, and then it just kind of took off as a thing. So now when we joke about, I was in a mastermind and we were joking about, just as we joked about stuff, we're like, no, save that for the OnlyFans. Like it became synonymous with like, save that for your like extra, perhaps 18+ content, which is where my joke came in about reading smutty fan fiction in my sexy voice. For money on OnlyFans. Look, y'all, I gotta say, when I saw the like Twitter, because I don't follow Tana Mojo either, but when I saw the Tana Mojo Tana Paul wedding train wreck happen on YouTube, because I watch a lot of YouTube and I love YouTube, but when I saw the picture that she was sharing of like the 3 million in 1 month, I was like, I mean, maybe I should reconsider. Maybe I should reconsider the reading. Austin, can consent legally change? So if she was non-consenting as a child but goes over it emotionally and is now consenting, is fine with it. The video footage does not make it consensual. Consent isn't really for this. The consent's not the issue. What's in the thing is the issue, but the consent laws are so vastly different. But the thing is, no video of a kid's ever going to be consensual because they're a kid. But there's also, she's the one distributing it, but the content of the thing is the thing. But really fanfic, exactly. Fanfic. I think fanfic would be easier to get some rights to, because there's also copyright laws that need to be considered. There's copyright laws that need to be considered. Weaponized assault penguin. It feels like penguins in Madagascar. Like, good job, boys. Harry Potter ASMR. Copyright. Copyright, because it wouldn't be for educational purposes. So copyright. But I am going to be recording another legal document reading. And then I've got 2 that I want to do after that. I'm going to read the Reynolds pamphlet. So if any of you are Hamilton fans and are curious about what's in the Hamilton pamphlet, I was like, not the Hamilton pamphlet, the Reynolds pamphlet. I was like, it's historical, but it's totally tea. Like that was the tea of the day. And it's also a little bit smutty because he like defines his affairs. So I'm like, it meets all of the criterias for the legal ASMR channel. It is a historical legal document. it's also tea. It's also naughty. I kind of like it. JOK, yeah, I think it's definitely something worth talking about it. I think it's totally worth talking about. And this is the reason why I brought it up, because these are the conversations we have here. We have some conversations about really fun stuff and about tea and whatever, but also the hard conversations are like, right, but this thing that she did sucks. Why is it? I want it to be illegal. Like, I want it to be illegal. It's like, right, but the legal standard is this. The legal standard, unfortunately, is not you suck, which is also the problem with a lot of the motion to dismiss in the Without a Crystal Ball case, is that the motion to dismiss is not a like motion to take judicial notice of the fact that Tati Westbrook sucks because of iSister. Like, that's not the point. That's not the point at all. Oh, crappy crafter, I'm never going to be president anyway, which is totally fine with me. I would rather talk to our friends about the laws that they want to change and then tell you where to go change them so y'all can change the world. There's more than just one of me. We had 6,000 law nerds in here tonight, and 6,000 people now go, oh, I don't like the way that this breaks down on law, but I want to have a conversation about how that might change and start thinking about how that might change in my community or my country. And that's a really big thing of change. It is 9:12. You guys, I appreciate you for who's the current president. The fuck if I know at this point. We're going to, well, no, the current president is, well, that's your point, right? Brie Patrick, I'm like, it took me a minute to get it. That is your point. That is the point. I mean, I don't want to be president. I want to be on the YouTubes with y'all. Like, I love being a YouTuber. Absolutely. The suck is why you call out people's bullshit when it's valid bullshit. And you say, hey, you can't do that on this platform. It's why platform has rules. You deplatform somebody and you bring light to the bullshit. Not everything is always going to be illegal, and that's fine, but that's when you bring light to it. And the channels did such a good job of saying, I don't care that she has a bigger platform than me. I don't care that her stands are going to come for me and be like, but it was cute. I'm calling out the bullshit and the fuckery where I see it. And all we can do is call out the fuckery. I will call out the fuckery and say, here's the fuckery, but then also here's the law. So, the barefoot historian, hello, that's amazing. I'm familiar with the Reynolds pamphlet, but never thought I'd hear it as ASMR. Well, we're going to hear it as ASMR. So, and yes, Hamilton's never going to be president after that. I mean, that was the tea of the day. The drama commentary channels of the historical drama commentary channels were just the people involved in it writing newspaper articles, throwing massive fucking shade at each other that we all have now. So we get to read all of it now. Yes, it's Twinkle Twinkle #3. We're just going to go watch some more Mandalorian. I need to watch that episode again so I can just like take a deep breath. And then tomorrow I'm going to play it a little bit more Pokemon Go, because they just released new generations of Pokemon. And I haven't gotten to watch Trainer Tips Nick and his brilliant YouTube channel in way too long. And I'm sad. Not that I don't love following all the tea, but I'm ready. I miss Pokemon. So I appreciate you guys. It is Twinkle Twinkle time. Oh, hey, we're at 63,000 subs. Did it change while we were on stream? It must have changed while we were on stream. So, what is the next ASMR recording? Well, we did the Constitution, so now it's time to do the Bill of Rights and the amendments. So that's what's next. It's the historical document reading takes a different level of energy, because I have to go through and like clip it so I can read it out loud in a way that makes sense, because the grammar and sentence structure is so different. So it takes a little bit of prep time. And then this week's podcast that I'm going to be recording for next week is, I think, going to be Erica Girardi and Tom Girardi, because I'm like, wait, are you getting divorced to hide assets? Like, is that really what you're being accused of? And now there's legal documents. I hope that you guys enjoyed this tonight. Oh, I saw somebody call out 63K about an hour ago. I was so into the legal stuff because I'm so blown away by everything I have never ever experienced or watched a case go down the way this defamation cases go down. Like, I've never seen anything like it. I've never seen the messiness play out on social media like this. And like, when you talk about fucking with the wrong people, like, poking the bear on Salty is a really bad idea. And I've never seen anything like, I've never seen that level of hubris. I worked gang cases. Like, if anybody fronts their shit, it's definitely gangsters in Long Beach. But I'm just saying, laws are not strong when it comes to kids ending their lives behind a game and the people behind it because they are in different countries. Sad. Are we talking about Blue Whale? I feel like that's Eva talking about Blue Whale, but international laws are very hard. And yes, I totally understand. Diva Views, it feels like it. Diva Views says that's what Chauvin and his wife are doing. It absolutely felt like it to me. It felt like it, or she could have looked at what happened and went, "You're a fucking asshole," and I'm done because, you're allegedly a murderer. But I have content. If you guys want content on that stuff, there is content on all that. Thank you for reminding me it's Twinkle Twinkle time. Can daily vloggers, Instagrammers get in legal trouble if their analytics point to I don't know, Abby. It's a very, very removed argument, and I would need to think about it. But it's a very, very interesting question. I've gotten a lot of questions about family vloggers, and I'm not ignoring them. There are some things I just need to think about. And the family vloggers and like child work laws and stuff, I just need to think about it. Absolutely, Susan. That's why I think the buyers should be fucking pissed. I think the buyers should be calling for everything to happen, but I don't think that the buyers are problematic. Though maybe there's an argument for once people figured out what it was, that they like hopped only to her OnlyFans and then bought it, but I have no idea how you would legally prove that. I appreciate you guys. I appreciate you guys. I appreciate you guys. We are on Twinkle Twinkle. I didn't read it out loud, Kyla. I'm sorry. Twinkle Twinkle Little Star, 1R, not 2. The clever shade to remind me that it is time to go hang out with my children. Law nerds, you guys are absolutely the greatest. I will see you on the socials over the weekend. One more plug for the Law Nerd Shop if you want. I don't even think I've mentioned the Law Nerd Shop tonight, but y'all know where we are. If you want your own, I'm going to do one, I think, that says foolishness because my son wants one he can wear to school. So there will be new merch coming. My mugs came in. I've got my I Heart Cursey Words mug right back there. I love the mugs. They're so great. If you want to join the text crew, because the alarm bells on YouTube don't always work, I can text you within the text crew, and it's where you and I can text back and forth. I am trying to get to all of them. I am behind on my DMs, my emails. I'm behind on the things, but I'm working on it. Law Nerds Unite is how you can join us. If you are seeing all the different color gavels, they change as you've been a channel member longer. So why not start now? And we do a members only live stream the first Thursday of every month. We do some Zoom calls quarterly on some of the levels. You guys get early access to merch. So before the shop went live, everybody that was a member got access to it first. So their stuff shipped first, and that will absolutely continue. The podcast is Get Legit Law and Shit. It is number 26 this week in news commentary. So thank you guys. It is trending worldwide in news commentary. I love being in the news commentary space. Even though it's like pop culture news commentary, there's no pop culture commentary real section. So we're news commentary. We talk about the news. Erica Girardi getting divorced is fully the news. If you want to follow along what I'm up to on the weekends, I'm on social. I'm not on YouTube much on the weekends because it's family time. So I'm everywhere at the Emily D. Baker. And for all of you who have complimented my hair, I have a new hair dryer, and it has made all the world different. And that is why the hair is down now. And also because there's times when I just want to be able to like shade people by hair flipping, and like one day maybe BXB Spoil will make a video about me and say that my edges are great. We'll see. We'll see. And so the hair's down. But the hair dryer that I am obsessed with is that Revlon all-in-one. It's up on my Amazon. I mean, also the shit I use to make videos and like the microphone and stuff, but the hair dryer is clearly the most important part because I did this myself and I have literally no skills. None of the skills. I have none of the makeup skills. I have like there's like a glitter tonight. This is all the skills we have. Okay. Get your gavels, law nerds. We're gonna meet back here. I might if I get done with the research that I'm doing, I might drop a video this weekend. I'm not going to promise you. I'm researching something that I'm very curious about. Research, I tell you. So we'll see. If we do, I'll let you know. No, I didn't say the Dyson. The hairdryer I like is way not expensive. And it's fantastic. That Revlon's a fantastic. I see you all asking for purple hair at 100K. I'll do it. I've been wanting to do purple hair. Octonation's a big, big advocate for the purple hair. Okay. Can you put Brian's ring on it? I don't know if it's on Amazon, Michael. Hold on. That was a great question. And then I'm going to say goodnight. It's on aura.com. So I'm going to just put it in the chat so you guys can find it. The Aura ring, I don't even think I can get it on Amazon. Well, now I want to look. Hold on. They're still playing a board game. So let me see. Let me see if it's on there. I don't know if it is. It's a Finnish company. And they have to send you out a little kit to size it because if it doesn't fit right, it's a problem. So I don't know if they've started selling it through. No, they've got knockoffs of it on Amazon. They don't have the actual ring. But the Aura, I met the inventors of the Aura ring at a conference and loved the science that they put into this ring. I absolutely love it. Absolutely, absolutely love it. So it's a biometric tracking ring called an Aura ring. I will absolutely talk about the Aura ring another day and my biohacker nerdiness. We need to do a Q&A soon. So I will. Oh, it's auraring.com. Why didn't they buy aura.com? Somebody else probably has it. Hold on. Let me put this in. So I love this ring. My husband's also a sleep doctor. So sleep is really, 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 really important to us. And we talk about it a lot. The other thing that I'm tracking that I am trying to get caught up on, but y'all, it's so fucking much, is the Tasha K Cardi B sitch. I'm trying. It's so much stuff. I'm trying to get caught up. So biometric tracking rings, the Aura ring. I put the proper link in down below. I love everybody sharing me the purple hair. There's no hairdryer on the Amazon. Hold on. Y'all are the best because you're like, Emily, get your life together. And I'm like, okay, we're going to get it together right now. The hairdryer was up there. Did it? Oh, I hope it didn't sell out over Black Friday. Amazon, don't do me dirty. Revlon. Step. It's in here. Oh, and there's a coupon on it as well. So look at that. All right. I'm going to put it in the shop right this second. I think the model I had in the shop sold out. I think that's what happened. This is the updated model. So let me go add it. I'm adding it right now. You guys are the best. Okay. It's added to the shop. I'll show you what the shop looks like real quick. And then I'm going, I swear. I love streaming. Can you guys tell? Let me pull it up. Oh, I hear the griffin. Oh, I hear an upset kid. So I'm going to go in just a sec. I wonder if he's been told he has to stop playing Fortnite because it feels like that's probably the issue. Okay. So when we go to the shop, I just added it. So that's the hairdryer. I wonder if the other one sold out because it used to be in here. It must have sold out because it was right down in here. But this is my Amazon shop. The link's in the thing. And there's a click link. I'm going to add it again. He is a dentist, Adrian. He is a maxillofacial prosthodontist, but he specializes in sleep apnea. So he does sleep apnea from a dental perspective and has quite a lot of knowledge on sleep. So he's a sleep specialist. But we also sold a business due to COVID and stories. So this is the shit I use. This is the hairdryer. There's multiple colors of it. It's got a coupon right now. Look, this one is on sale for $47. And they've got Dude, the red's fire. Like, I don't need another one of these, but the red is fire. Okay, I love this hairdryer so much. So, just sharing, not sponsored. It is my Amazon shop, so it is an affiliate link, but it tells you that. That's why I love Amazon shop, because you can't do it wrong, because the Amazon shop shows you. I know. There's like 4,200 people are like, bitch, it's over 2 hours. Can you stop? Sorry, he's a maxillofacial prostodontist, but it's a whole different thing. Amanda Powell, it is that hairbrush. That hairbrush is it's like a brush dryer all in one, and it's not heavy, so your arms don't get tired. We will do a Q&A with the hubby all about sleep. I think that's a great idea. We'll do a Q&A with the hubby all about sleep and sleep apnea. Perfect. You guys, thank you so much. I appreciate you. It's like the 7th wrap up tonight. I can't believe we hit 6,300 subs. Like, thanks, guys. I appreciate you. I told you where all the things are. I appreciate you. I adore you guys. I'll see you on the other socials this weekend. All the things. Have a wonderful night. Connect with me everywhere. I'm at the Emily D. Baker. The podcast is the Get Legit Law and Shit podcast. If you guys want to join the text, just text Emily.com. If you want to join the channel, lawnerdsunite.com. Happy to have you. Support what we do here on the YouTube